Hey, Mart.
What's going on, Ben?
Well, the car drives great. It's such a good car.
That's good to know.
Such a good car.
Yeah.
But you see, there's like 12 different problems still. Maybe 13.
We just got this thing running. What do you mean 12 different problems?
Yeah, well, you see, modern cars have like a bunch of computers and they're not talking with each other because there's like a ton of lights on the dash. We just assumed that they would go away once we replace the airbag and the airbag module and stuff. But maybe the SRS airbag module needs to be programmed in some way.
I could maybe take a look, but beep. I don't think I'm gonna actually figure anything out. Yeah, that looks like a problem. Oh.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think this is a Ben issue and not a car issue. All right, let's see what we got.
Is this 2024 automotive YouTube now? We just like bring our tablets out and press some buttons?
This fixes everything. So let's see, you got 4 codes so far. Oh wait,
there's 6.
There's 6.
We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 computers in this car.
Place ABS, VSA, regulator. I don't know, man. That doesn't seem right. Why would the VSA go bad?
We can check that with a smarter person.
We do know a smarter person.
Yeah.
It's not me.
I'm gonna call up David.
No, that'd be great to get David over here because I can learn so much more from him as far as electrical goes.
Okay, well, while David works on the science of nuclear fission, we're gonna do something a little bit more simple. The car, you'll notice, is quite dirty, and that's because I've been driving it around town a ton. I think I've already put over 1,000 miles on it, which is about half the total miles on the car. So that's pretty cool, but also the car is quite filthy, and it has led me to another thing. Not only is my car super filthy and the wheels are super disgusting, and not only do we have a huge amount of wheel gap here, but the main problem is actually something that you can't see. And that is that the factory suspension is way too stiff. And I mean, way too stiff. Honda is awesome, but I have no idea what they were thinking when they made the suspension this stiff. So we're gonna fix that.
That wheel is dusty. You really did put 1,000 miles on this thing. Track pads. So fun fact, I actually don't like these ball joint pullers, if you will, removal tools. I've had one of these explode before. Oh, I see, you know, in the safe zone. Yeah, I see. No man left behind. Got it. Got it. Yep. That was a shotgun. I'm sorry you didn't record that. Oh, man. I just took the hammer and I was just like, yeah, you know, give it a couple of taps. Maybe like the vibrations will loosen it up. And literally made contact. Kapow! Cam goes that way, I go this way. Woo! And there you have it. Stock suspension. So I'm gonna take a break from the front because I guess it took a whole lot out of me and try and figure out this rear. This is the divorce setup right here. This is what comes factory on the Civic Type Rs. We're gonna be changing out these lower control arms down here. One, because we're not 100% sure if this side is, you know, straight and true. Long. So this is a true coilover setup from Fortunato, a little bit different than the divorce setup that comes factory on the Civic Type R, but more on that later. This is the updated version from Fortunato, and they actually updated again. We don't have the updated version of that, but It is this top hat. This is a prototype 3D printed top hat from Fortunato. They gave us this just for demonstration purposes. You could also see that it's wider than the top hat that we currently have. The reason for that is because it spreads the weight evenly across a wider surface area. The reason that we're not using the updated version is mainly due to time. We wanted to try and get this coilover in and, you know, get this video out to you guys.
Now that we have the suspension in the car, we need to do some more upgrades and improvements that pair well with that suspension. And Mark had mentioned before that my OEM control arms might have been slightly bent. We don't really know, but the OEM lower, I guess it's called a lower B arm, is probably the culprit for the alignment not being absolutely perfect. So I went to Two-Step Performance and got an upgrade. So these are RV6 Performance lower B arms, and it has an adjustable camber, basically just like a turnbuckle, which makes it very easy to adjust camber in the rear and add camber in the rear. This is a really nice piece, nice powder coated red, and it goes with the A arm. I think this helps to adjust toe. So all these things can be installed and you can just turnbuckle it instead of the little offset bolt thing. Those are always super annoying. And also, we got a sway bar, and this is the world's shortest sway bar. At least I feel like it is, because I'm used to sway bars on cars being much longer. Obviously, stiffer rear sway bar. And a front-wheel drive car is good because that helps rotation. So we're gonna help this thing get a little bit more oversteer. All of this came from Two-Step Performance, and it's kind of become my go-to for Type R parts. And that was also, ironically, where the previous owner of this car bought some of his performance goodies. So it's staying in the family, it's staying in the Two-Step Performance family.
Hey, what's all this?
Bunch of stuff. I haven't actually opened those bags yet. We got some stickers, Two-Step Performance stickers. Hey, it's a Type R!
Two-step!
That's pretty cool.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
It's for the shift knob. You put it over the shift knob.
I need to get one of these for
Put it on here.
For the S2000. Dude, that's neat, man.
Okay, well, all of David's scan tools here were not enough, so we went to Harbor Freight and got another scan tool. How many computers does it take to fix this computer?
At least 7.
What are we doing now?
We are clearing out the codes that are stored in the VSA module, the electronic power steering, and the integrated driver support system, hoping that we can do a steering angle relearn. If that works, great. That should fix it. If it doesn't, we will be checking powers and grounds and circuit integrity.
You just did something.
I'm doing a lot.
What are you doing over there, man? You giving my car more horsepower?
All of the horsepower.
So you have the OBD2 port that rolls over to this junction box for the PPL, which rolls over here to the body control module. The body control module then sends signal over here to this junction box. This junction box sends signal over here to the VSA module. The VSA module then sends signal over to this junction box, which then sends signal to electric power steering pump, which then sends signal to this junction box, which then goes over to the SRS unit. The SRS unit sends signal to the PPL, which comes back all the way over here to this junction box, and then everything reloops. And somewhere there's a communication issue.
All right, here you go.
Oh, you want me to put it in?
Mm-hmm. Oh, you need this too. And then after that, you can put that on.
Okay. Okay.
And after that is this one here.
Oh.
And then the B arms apparently go with it.
I thought those were A arms.
No, these are the Bs. Well, maybe. You might be right.
I don't know. You said it was A arms.
All right, I'll lift up the car.
Okay.
Now that we have the stock bar out, we can kind of compare sizes. So this bar we know is 25 millimeter, and the stock bar appears to be just about a 21, like 20 and a half is what it's reading, but we're definitely going a bit stiffer, but it's also a slightly different design. Primary feature of these lower control arms are the adjustability of the camber. You can lengthen or shorten the arms, which will push this wheel out or inward. But also you'll notice this spot right here, and that is for the spring to sit on in a divorced setup. So a divorced setup means that your spring is divorced or separated from the strut. That's how the OEM configuration is run. So the strut would sit here and the spring would sit further in on like the fulcrum point, the leverage point of the control arm, but that's not what we're doing now since we have a true coil in the rear. If we compare it to the OEM arm here, I've actually seen these bend on a number of cars, generally on like the sport tourings, maybe Civic SIs.
It's like severely bent.
Oh my God.
Yeah. This might be that might be too far gone actually. I don't think we can bend that back to that.
All right, that's it right there.
This is Honda engineers, all right? Like literally they made this cutout here just so you can get the bolt out.
Because this car is brand new, or at least a year old now, it has active dampers. So this little guy right here, which is different than how I'm used to looking at coilovers. This is obviously on the factory one, but this is an active adjustable damper, and it is controlled by electronics that go to the car. I don't really like the tuning of these because it's either stiff or really stiff is your only options. We're going to a much smoother setup, but we no longer have the ability to do this because the Fortunatos don't have an active damper on it. We're gonna have a bunch of lights if we don't figure out how to dummy the car into thinking that this still exists. So, modern cars require modern solutions, and we have that. This is a cancellation kit, and it's kind of annoying that it's not just like a resistor that you can put in line to dummy it, but you have to actually run this whole thing. We have 4 of them. They're gonna mount onto the side of the coilover, and then you plug it into where it would normally go, and this just fakes the car into thinking that it still exists. These are unfortunately very expensive, and the only benefit of them is that it removes lights off of your dash. All right, as we put the wheels back on the car, you'll notice a pretty stark difference in the color here. You can tell this one is my front wheel and this one is the back wheel, given the amount of brake dust on the front wheel. But it's also giving me a really good look at what the car would look like with silver or gray wheels, and I think it looks pretty good. But I digress. Let's talk about the tires. These, the Continental Extreme Contact Sport 02s, which is the Extreme Performance Summers. This car is running a camber kit in the front and not in the rear, so it had a lot of camber in the front. What that does for a street car is it wears the inside edge of the tire really fast, because on a racetrack, when you lean into the corners, that camber helps you, but when you're just driving straight down the highway, it wears away really fast. I've driven the car already 1,000 miles, and there's actually already a noticeable tread wear difference between the front wheel and the rear wheel. And if you measure the outside of the tire here, we're looking at 9.5, 30 seconds. And if you measure the same spot on this tire, 9.5, 30 seconds. Now, if you measure the inside, where the front camber has been resting right here, we're looking at 8.5. And the inside of this one is sitting at a little bit over 9. We've already worn off roughly half a 30 second on the inside edge here and only 1,000 miles. And that's because we have so much camber. So when we put these tires back on the car, first of all, I'm gonna rotate them, but we're probably gonna take some camber out of the front and add some camber into the rear so it's even all the way around, but also hopefully not wear out these wonderful tires too fast, because I am gonna track the car, but I want these tires to last as long as I can for driving around town, which is gonna be a lot of what I'm gonna do with this car. All right, we're gonna get the scales out, put scales underneath these wheels, because also the car is lower than it was before, and I have a feeling the lift post won't be able to go all the way down. We should also do a corner balance As we're setting the ride height, we're also gonna be setting the corner balance roughly. I'm not gonna go too crazy because it is still a street car, but we'll also find out how much it weighs. Factory weight's supposed to be 3,188 pounds, which is a lot for a front wheel drive car. Maybe the wheels make it lighter, maybe the suspension makes it lighter, maybe it doesn't have a full tank of gas. All right, let's see what we got. This is pretty low.
You said you wanted it low.
Hey!
100 pounds.
How did we take 100 pounds off the car? Well, okay, the fuel load is probably not. Also, we took all of that out of the car, albeit we replaced it with stuff. Dude, 100 pounds lighter?
It's probably just the fuel. That's probably just fuel.
Yeah, it's okay, all right, that's probably fuel, yeah. Well, corner balance is not terrible. Actually, similar to how my EK weighs in that the rear right side is the lightest. So we want to raise up the rear right a little bit to help give it some of that weight back.
So what do you think about the ride height? Is it low enough for you?
I think it's too low. Do you think it's too low?
I think the viewers are gonna go nuts. Are you kidding me? It's not that low.
It's not that low?
It's not that low.
There's more camera in the back than the front right now. It looks pretty good though.
It looks good. I like it.
Got the corner balance on the rear perfect. I mean, within 7 pounds. 588 on the left and 581 on the right. I think that ride height's pretty good. We gotta adjust the camber, the alignment.
I got some initial measurements to set the alignment up just right, making sure that we don't wear down these wonderful Continental tires too quickly. But I can only do so much because Ben and David were also working on the car's computers, which was shaking the lift.
Oh, whoa, 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 quit shaking.
We're still working on wiring. Or not wiring, but just electrical gremlins. Or not our electrical gremlins, but computer communications with other computers. All right, I'm starting it.
No, start the car. Just ignition on.
Oh, that has to stay plugged into the computer? Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy.
I think we got it. Go
Key
turn the
writing is
ignition
complete.
off. Go turn it off.
Ignition off.
Set a 6-minute timer. I think it worked.
Is the airbag gonna deploy when I turn it back on?
No, don't touch anything yet.
Okay. Do I start the car?
Just key on.
Key on. Okay. Ah! Keying on.
Airbag's gonna go off.
Ready?
Steering angle position anywhere needed.
Check engine light went out. TPMS light also went out. All we have right now is a battery light, which car's not on. E-brake light.
DTCs again and see what we got.
Seat belt. Seems like we've just fixed it. Modern cars, man.
We got fixed.
All right, Mark. This thing's starting to look like a proper Civic Type R. I feel like we're making some pretty good progress. What's left on the list?
Well, let's kind of go over it. The first thing we did was we rebuilt the CTR, right?
Yep.
We cleared all the codes, installed Fortunato coilovers.
Yep, they look great.
Did an alignment,
Yep.
which I can say is like pristine, right?
It also
you,
looks
you
great.
agree?
Yeah, perfect fitment.
And obviously you put quite a few miles on it.
Yeah, like 1,600 or so, which is double the mileage on the car already.
That's actually kind of crazy. I think it needs a wash because
Yeah.
it's looking a little rough.
Yeah, I drove it through Hurricane Helene, so yeah, we probably need to wash it.
Still got more to do.
All right, well, let's wash it. You know, Mark, now that the car is lowered and clean, I gotta say, the wheels don't look as bad.
I'm kind of surprised to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, the blue is still a little bit odd, but like, it definitely looks better having proper fitment. But I have ordered some powder coating stuff, so it'll have to be in the next episode, but we are gonna change the color of the wheels, for sure.
I think everybody else would like that as well.
Yeah, it's coming. It's ordered. It's on its way. What's next on the list?
Oh yeah, I got the list, right?
Yeah.
All right, we, hold on. Wash car, let me check that off. Still let's not mention that. We have a PWR radiator to install.
Oh, that's right. We got a PWR.
PWR.
Yeah.
It'll help cool things off a little bit.
Definitely. The car's a bit steamy. All right, well, let me get the PWR radiator. It's been sitting over here for a while, actually. The FK8 Civic Type R had a lot of overheating issues, and the FL5, they improved on that a bit, but they still have some overheating issues. So we are upgrading the radiator to help with those overheating issues, and obviously we've gone with a PWR because it's the best that you can get. That's not an understatement. They make radiators in Formula One, they make radiators in every form of motorsports out there, and now they make a radiator for my car. So that's what we're gonna put into the car. It's a much thicker core, so it's gonna have a bigger coolant capacity, but it's also just constructed really well with really high quality materials. Let's throw this thing into the Civic, even though we haven't taken it on the track yet. I feel like this is kind of a necessary first thing to do, maybe even before you go on track for a Type R, because, well, you can only get like 2 or 3 laps with the factory radiator. Hopefully this will get us a few more than that.
That's interesting. I totally forgot that piece is missing.
Yeah, it's missing on this side too. Well, other than the OEM radiator being slightly damaged from the accident, you can see a big difference between these two. Now, I'm leaving the cardboard on the PWR just to keep it protected, but the overall dimensions this way should look the same. But the main difference comes when you turn it that way. You can see just how much more thick that the PWR radiator is. This one is a 27 millimeter, and the PWR is a 42. But also doesn't have plastic end tanks, which is always good for reliability reasons. There we go, there we have it. There's you versus the guy she tells you not to worry about.
Now to put in nothing but the good stuff.
Like a chiropractor. Except no crack. Ready, and all right, breathe in and exhale. All right, that didn't go that well. There we go. All right. Sometimes it cracks a little bit afterward. Let's see what these old Fortunato 510s can do. We did go with a little bit of a stiff spring rate, but I figure it's probably still going to be softer than the factory suspension damping. Wow, yeah. Huge difference. This is unbelievable. This car is so planted. Oh man, what a car. This is a driver's car. Dude, look at that. That's wonderful. Wow. All right, well, I'm blown away. I mean, the performance of the car has always been really good, but now it's even better with Fortunatos on it. That's incredible. I will say, driving the car like around town on the street, it is still pretty bumpy, but maybe a compromise I'd be willing to make for a little bit more performance. It definitely handles better than stock and is still more comfortable than stock, so it's a win in both categories. The PWR radiator is arguably too efficient for the street. It's definitely more track focused. My temperature is actually only 170 right now. The highest I've seen it get is 176. And literally as I drive right now, just coasting at 50 miles an hour, I just watched it drop to 168. So I'm not really worried about the car overheating when you take it to the track, which is a very common problem with these Type Rs. I think we've now got this car to a point where it is like the perfect street car, and also I could drive it to the track and race it around the track and drive it home. And I probably will at some point. Well, there you have it. It's pretty hard to make a Honda better than Honda themselves made it, but the suspension was definitely a weak point, and we have sorted that out now with the Fortune Auto 510 coilovers, and the cooling was obviously also a weak point, and we've fixed that now with the PWR radiator. So the car is now a fully functional prime street car, and I'm gonna be daily driving this car, so I'm gonna be racking up the miles on it, and without a care in the world, because it's the best car ever. It's the best for performance, practicality. It actually gets good gas mileage. It's an incredible car. Make sure you're subscribed to see what we do with this car next. Maybe we'll add some more power to it. Maybe we'll take it on a road trip. Who knows?